Why are Americans excited about cars now that have come back from a long time ago? Why weren't they excited about it back then, and why are they so big now? That's the big question, and this is where I put it into perspective. Let's get into it.
Could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
So, as you know, the Bronco has become a big hit for Americans. As soon as Ford, redesigned this vehicle, a lot of people have been excited about the Bronco, and I've been like, yeah, woohoo, hoo, we're gonna buy it, and it's gonna be great. You know what I mean? And this car has been getting a lot of hype, like the CA Corvette, that has gotten a lot of hype. Now, that car was never really canceled, but it was definitely a revolutionary thing. And why is it so exciting? Here's how it works. Now, the car industry let's speak for the Bronco here. The car industry is now changing a bit. More and more Americans want, bigger cars, and SUVs are, a big highlight because they're much more practical, and they come in different variations for different styles and different needs. So, all these manufacturers provide these vehicles for different lifestyles, and people really get interested into that. So why are people buying SUVs, you may ask? Well, you see, sedans have become a yesterday thing. Sedans sure may get like pretty good gas mileage and fixed, but what people are more focused on is getting practicality, and because SUVs are getting much more advanced, and they are actually fixing the problem with an old problem that was getting good gas mileage. Now that is being solved, and so now people are pushing to get more of those, and that's become a big highlight in the car market. See, people don't really want sedans no more. Like, that's a thing from yesterday. Now people want something more practical, ready to go. Can pretty much handle anything, because that's just really how SUVs feel like. And overall, they just make amazing vehicles, because now you can get things that are from the sedan plus more practicality, and a lot of safety features, and feeling like the king of the road. That's the best thing ever. So people really want to go for stuff like that. Now let's get into the Bronco. Why is the Bronco such a highlight today? Well, it plays a role in, people wanting SUVs, Americans wanting SUV, but it's not just that. See, the thing is, the Bronco was already a legend, an American legend. Just after a while, it died out because of the sedan market. Not only that, Ford actually canceled the vehicle. So it's been gone for years. And let's put it like this. Imagine like a band. Because what happens in this in this society, in the world, is like some things that may die out may come back as a trend. Now, let's put it like this. Imagine if hip hop died out. Let's say you had like, I don't know, like just any let's say a rapper like Post Malone. Post Malone is a big hit, and then just 5 years he's gone, and then he comes out. No, actually, let's do that. 21 Savage makes amazing songs. After a while, it's gone. People are waiting for this next album, and it takes years, and then he comes out with this next album, and it becomes a big hit. And so, he comes out with a new album, and from that it becomes a big hit because he was gone for so long, and this album actually is like really good. It has good music, and so it becomes a big hit. Same strategy that Ford went along with. You know what I mean? That was not a plan, but that was something that occurred to them overnight, bringing back the Bronco. So the Bronco dies out. People are buying sedans, more sedans, and then and now a new trend comes. It's called Americans wanting SUVs. And that sort of, starts going up. And because people realize that SUVs get really good gas mileage now, and they're very practical, so it starts going up. You know what happens after that? what happens after that is now you have sort of, you know, a big demand for SUVs. And so Ford thought, you know, what if we took advantage of this, bringing back an American legend. And so it was the Bronco. But before that came out, there was the Land Rover Defender, which was also another, you know, legend, you know, throughout the world. But you see, the problem that Land Rover had was they actually messed this up. They modernized this car way too much. Some aspects of the old Defender they could have brought and, you know, modernized. But they took it to the level where this vehicle didn't look like the old Defender. It looked like a whole different model that they could have named a different name and would have went out, you know, like whatever. And so they messed up on that one. But then there's also another car, the Trailblazer, which was also pretty popular. And the thing GM did was they made it smaller and they made it look like a modern Chevy. And that made people not want to buy that vehicle, and it was just a bad plan in general. Now, people still liked having a practical small car, but they could have named it something else instead of a legendary name. And so, because it has a legendary name and you know, it's a much smaller compact car, not like the original version, people lose interest. Like, the original people start losing interest into that vehicle because it's not how they remember it being. I mean, the thing you gotta learn about, like, with cars and, like, you know, automakers, what they need to learn is that a lot of times the customer wants, you know, when you're bringing back a legend, the customer wants some of the characteristics that they remember. Some of the things that really made it bold. And that's what Ford did. They came out with the Bronco. And they knew they couldn't F it up like, you know, Land Rover or the Trailblazer. Now, they took it, they worked hard. They tried to modernize this vehicle and keep some of the old aspects of this vehicle. And they were able to do that. And this was a big hit. This car became a big hit, and many started to love it, and it became a big staple. And now we are here with today, where we see this car is getting tons of hype. It's become a staple, and probably could become one of the best-selling vehicles in America. Maybe not, but maybe become one of the best enthusiast cars. Probably the most popular. I mean, this car gets so much requests from journalists and many YouTubers, and it's just crazy. But that's what happens when you see an American legend come back to life. And yeah, that's on the Bronco. Now let's get to the Chevy Corvette. Why is that car so popular? Why do people love it so much? Why does it become a staple for people? Why do they just like look at this car and say, like, Corvette? Like, you see C8 Corvette everywhere. I mean, everyone talks about the C8 Corvette. But why is this particular Corvette so important? For many years, and it has to do with the engine, so where the engine is placed. Each car puts their, you know, each automaker and each car has a place where they put the engine. And those are called, like, different styles of engines, where there's, you know, the front engine vehicles. Okay, so that's like your regular car, like your Honda Accord, or like, you know, your Ford Explorer, your Ford F-150. And then there's the mid-engine vehicles, like your Lamborghini Huracan, or like your Lamborghini Aventador, or your McLaren GT, or McLaren 765 LT, or, you know, your Ferraris, something like that. Those have mid-engines where the engine is placed in the middle. And I mean, it's not really considered the middle, but in the layout, like, you know, there's the front part, there's the back part, there's the middle. So you you would say that's the middle. And then there's the rear layout, and mostly that is made up of your Porsches. Now, for so long, the C8, I mean the Corvettes from, you know, the C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, you know, those are the generations of the Corvettes or whatever. For so long, the Corvette was a car that had the engine in the front always. It was always in the front. I mean, it wasn't the best in terms of safety, but that vehicle always had it in the front. And, you know, it was sort of an American icon, not too much as it is today, but, you know, it was sort of something people liked. But then Chevy came up with this crazy idea, you know, something that not really a lot of people thought about. They thought the next generation of Corvette was just going to be an update from the previous version. But people were wrong. They got it totally wrong. In fact, when the pictures of the prototype actually, you know, people spotted this car, people were actually, the buzz was starting to increase. Like, was this really going to be the new C8 Corvette? And turns out it was. The C8 Corvette came out with a mid-engine layout. Something that was, you know, something that was not really thought of, you know, for a Corvette. Because for so long it was in the front. And then came the other question. Well, if it's going to be a mid-engine vehicle, this car is going to cost a lot. Nah, this car is less than, you know, a used Lamborghini Huracan. Like, that's crazy. For people, like, you can get and the specs on this car even made people go even more insane. And it was just like, wow, this car can do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. It comes with a mid-engine layout, you know, it's like a freaking Lamborghini but with the Chevy badge, and it costs less than 90K. Like, are you kidding me? Like, some can go to maybe, like, I don't know, as high as like 150,000, but like, that's like, you know, high prices. But this thing can start around like 50, 60 grand, and you can get a Corvette for 60 grand that does 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds and is like built like a Lamborghini. Like, that was crazy for people. Like, nobody expected that. That was something that you really didn't think of. But it was possible with the help of Chevy. And that's why it became a big instant hit. See, this car was, you know, revolutionary in the Corvette world. It's starting a new era of Corvettes that could potentially come in the future. And that's the thing with cars. See, when cars get more popular, they usually get popular by, you know, bold statements, bold designs, or, you know, something that gets people, you know, talking, and something that's like revolutionary. Or it could be like bringing back a legend and perfecting it. And that's why so many cars from a couple years ago, or cars today, are getting so much hype. They're getting so much hype due to trends, or due to trends, or they could be bring back and become legendary, or they were remodeled and just made a lot better. But yeah, thank you for watching today's video on Motorsports Review. I'm Abubakar Ali, and yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. So have a nice day. Oh, and also check out the Driven store. Very important stuff, because you always forget to do that. Yeah, just never do that. But anyways, yeah, take care of yourselves, kiddos, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.